Good evening and welcome to another edition of Inside the Issues. Inside the Issue is produced by the League of Women Voters Richfield. My name is Maureen Scalia and I serve as the moderator. Tonight we're going to have 3 segments to the show. We're going to talk about the events going on this summer. The first one we're going to talk about is events with the Richfield Historical Society. And I'm very honored to have with me on my immediate left John Wickett, who is president of the board of directors of the Historical Society, and Ruth Ann Clay, who is manager of the Richfield Historical Society with its buildings, and you're kind of there when people come to visit. Right?
I am, and loving it.
And I'm very grateful to have them on the show. So let's talk first a little bit about what brought you to being a president of the Historical Society.
Well, it started for me about 3 or 4 years ago now. I was actually going to do some research on my parents' house. They've owned a house in Richfield since 1971. And went to the Richfield Historical Society and just started talking with someone by chance, and ended up getting drafted into a tour and exhibit about the only Richfield police officer to die in the line of duty, which was Officer Fred Babcock, of which I'm currently working on a book about. Okay. And that just started. Got a little more involved, joined the board, and then this past spring I was elected president.
Ruth Ann, you have a long history with the Richfield Historical. You're kind of, how should I say, the grandmother of it at this point?
Oh boy, I haven't been called that, but I suppose I've been involved.
I call her my voice of experience.
Yeah. I've been there since 1979. Started out as a volunteer, and then was curator, and then I spent 5 years as president, and then on the board. And now I'm really excited to be the new manager, and it's kind of always been a dream job, and I'm having a really good time, and it's so much fun when people come in to visit them and encourage them to look around the museum, give them tours of the house, and also encourage them to become members.
Yes, that's the thing. All these societies always need funding and membership.
That's true. Very true.
What are the hours? We should probably tell people because we encourage them to visit.
We are open every Wednesday and Saturday from noon to 4, and we've started something new this summer, and that's being open 2 Sundays a month, and from 1 to 3. Our next event will be actually this coming Sunday. We'll be there from 1 to 3, and again, they're welcome to come in. We're kind of at a disarray right now because we're in the process of having a new exhibit set up.
Oh, yeah.
So things are a little different, but we still encourage them to come in and check out the files, and if they live in Richfield, we have the city assessor's photos, and we're more than happy to see if we have their photograph, and it's always fun to see their faces when they look at the house, and we'll make a copy of it for them. So that's kind of where we are this time.
And there's always tours of the Bartholomew House. We're always happy to take anybody who wants to go through there, and that's always I've always called the Bartholomew House our most important artifact.
It is.
And so that's definitely something to come and see.
Now, I know there was thoughts and transitions as to what really the Bartholomew House should be. And I know I've toured it when it was back to the way it was with the family.
Right.
Maybe not as it was originally built, but maybe 20 years, 30 years later. What is the kind of the scope now? Where is the house at?
Well, we've just completed what's called a structural report with a grant from the Minnesota Historical Society, so they can tell us basically the things we need to do to keep the house standing, and also improvements we can make. My personal goal as president, and I've said this many times before, is that my goal is to keep the integrity of the house intact. because it is our most important artifact, it needs to be preserved as an artifact. There are improvements, and there will be changes and some retooling of where things are and so forth, but very much that house is meant to be a house, and it's going to, like I said, I intend to keep the integrity intact. You know, it's very important to me.
Currently, it's set up as a farmhouse, and we have a wide collection in the house, not all necessarily 1852, but it's fun to have people come in and how they relate to the house. Many of them will come in and, oh, I remember seeing this type of thing at my grandma's house, or, oh, I remember doing this. And so, like John, we really hope to keep the integrity of the house. It's the modern things can be put up in the History Center.
Yes.
And it's fine. I'm hoping that, you know, if we want to make the changes, we can start them in the house, but then finish them in the History Center so that we can go more in depth.
We're really looking at more of keeping it as the, well, not necessarily quintessential, but an important time in Richfield's history, which is the late 19th century.
That's right, yeah.
The prime period for the house really seems to be the 1880s, 1890s. So that's kind of where our focus. We're not going to do any specific year, but kind of the importance of that era, especially into Richfield's history as a farming community at that time.
And that's really where it got off. I mean, Richfield got off and running
Right.
as a farming community.
Exactly.
So it's very
Part of the structural report that came through is we always thought the two-story section was the first part that Riley built, and we always had questions about how did they get to the second floor, if that was, you know, well, during the structural report, we learned that the west side of the building, the first story, is the first building, and then the two-story. And so now all of a sudden, oh, it really makes sense.
Basically, we had everything backwards. We had the second era as the first and the first. And they discovered it by tool markings used on the underboards and the floor joists. The tools on one were cut this way with old round-type saws. Well, then they later had the band saws. That's how they actually delineated it. It was very fascinating for them to point that out to us.
well, maybe we should just say, I know, you know, old buildings always need to be
They need a lot of work.
yeah, this is going to be relatively expensive to keep it going.
It is.
It is. I won't quote exact figures. We're still going over the structural report, and there will be grants and things, but you know, conservatively, you know, you could be looking at $500,000 if you were to do everything you wanted to do. But this will be an ongoing project for years. It's an important enough treasure to Richfield that I think that's something that can keep going and going on. And with next year being, the house will be 165 years old next year.
Wow.
It's not only needs cosmetic surgery, as we'd say, but it also just needs some structural help.
It needs a little help.
It needs help. She's not about to fall down, but we want to keep her from ever having even a threat of it happening.
It'd be fun. I mean, you think about buildings in London and in Europe. You know, we've got a long way before we get to that point, but we would like to, you know, I won't be around, John probably won't, but it would be really nice to know that when it's 200 years old, it's still there and people are still coming and enjoying visiting it. And that's the important part, is we really want people to be able to come in and learn about Richfield history and to be a part of it.
Well, that's great. And we've got some events going on, combination of just fun things and combination of fundraisers. Excuse me. And you had the first one? Tell me a little bit about the first
Rock
one.
for
That was
History.
Rock for History. We held that in late April. It was a band called the One Hit Wonders that came in and played. And it was just a very, very fun night. My daughter actually attended and got to play up with the band, and was just she ended up being I went from being president of the Historical Society that night to being, oh, there's Rachel's dad over there, which was fine. It was we had a great turnout, raised a decent amount of money for the society to use to help us keep going, and
The band wants to come back.
The band wants to come
Let's do
back,
that.
and the audience, pretty much everyone I talked to said, boy, we hope you come back and do this again
Yeah.
next year.
Okay.
So look for next spring. There's hopefully going to be another one
Bigger
of
and
those.
better.
Pardon
Yes,
me?
It'll
hopefully
be
bigger and
bigger and
better.
better.
You're
hopefully.
bigger and better. Well, the first time is always a trial.
It was an
and error.
experiment,
It
yes.
was. So we had a lot of fun with it, and it was interesting because you always wonder who's going to get up and do the dancing. And of course, Rachel
Yeah, my daughter was all
the
over it.
hit of the event, and John's dad was really out there.
Yep.
And it was an experience that,
was
number
fun.
one, Rachel will always remember.
Yeah, it was fun to see the mix of my daughter being the youngest there, but to see a mixture of people from, teenage up to in their 70s, all mingling together for this one same reason. And there was no, quote, generation gap,
gap.
or anything.
Everybody
Everyone was
was-
there for the common reason, and it was really, really encouraging and fun
It was
to watch.
loud, but it was fun.
Oh,
And
yes.
it was fun.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to it next year.
Now, the next one that you had was your plant sale. That's also already gone by.
Yes.
But you have it every year, so we may
We
as well
do.
talk about it a little bit.
We do, and we're so excited that the Garden Club wants to participate there. I wasn't able to stay the whole day, but when I left that morning, it was like, oh my gosh, we have a nursery here.
Yes.
Beautiful plants. From what I understand, it was very successful. And so we're anxious for them to come back next year. In fact, some of the things they sold came from my garden.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I'm not a gardener, and I called them and I said, I have some plants if you want them. So somebody came out and dug them up, and hopefully they sold them.
Okay. The next thing is this old house. Now, tell me about that. I'm not familiar with that.
That's July 12th, and that will be done by John Biostad and myself. And it kind of goes along with the structural report we got. It'll be talking about this old Bartholomew house and the things that are happening and changes. So I think it'll be kind of fun, and it goes from 7 to 8:30, I believe.
In the evening?
In the evening.
And that'll be an ongoing series over the
Yep.
next few months.
It'll be every other month, so the first one will be next month, and then the next one will be in September.
So people should watch
Yeah.
your website or
We'll
Yep.
have it up on the website, Facebook, and we'll try to put notices out into the community through the Sun Current and other things as these events come up. Because our next one's actually just being announced is an exhibit we have opening on the 25th of June, which is called History Through Literature, where we're going to have old books, old magazines, newspapers, and the idea is to show how history has moved through these items. And they'll be there to look at and handle and hold, and we've actually set up an area for children. I've brought in a bunch of, I don't know how many will remember this might date me a little, is little golden books.
Oh, yes.
I brought in a large box of those, and they're there for children to read and look through.
And on Saturday afternoon, we haven't set up the permanent time, but probably like around 1:30, 2 o'clock, we would like children to come in, and we will have a story time, and somebody will sit and read a story to the kids. And
This will be a very interactive exhibit. That's what we're hoping.
the kids-
You get to hold history in your hands with a book.
Yeah.
Ariel Keaton is the one that is setting up the exhibit, and she has come across some books that I had forgotten we even had in the collection. So I'm just really excited about it, and I'm hoping that people will show up at the open house from 6 to 8 p.m. on the 25th.
Okay. And then we have old-time baseball, where everybody dresses up in
Oh,
these
yes.
old baseball units.
Yep.
It's always quite an event for us. The Quick Steps. They've come for a few years. I don't know how many years they've been
Quite a
coming
few,
now, but
quite a few.
it's and this is the first year they want us to do a men's and a women's game this year.
Women play ball, but
Well, they've got a team that they've put together that would be for that. This is the first year it's come up, so
gonna
we're
be.
still
So
learning
you
about
guys
it.
So
probably
I actually have one gal that came in and said, I want to play on the Quick Steps women's team. So if anyone listening is interested in being on it and likes
Anyone is
baseball,
eligible. We'll take.
give us a call at the museum and we'll
Yep.
sign them up.
Oh, that's August 27th.
Yes.
1 p.m.
And
That'll be at the field next door to the
Right,
Bartholomew House.
right
yeah,
there.
rain or shine.
Yep.
Rain and shine. Yeah.
Everything we do is rain and shine. When we do the music on the back porch,
Yeah,
Which is the
let's
next
talk
thing.
about that. What's the music?
we have one coming up this Wednesday at 7 o'clock, and it's Todd Chase. And he has his own band. And if it rains, we'll go into the History Center so it doesn't get canceled. And then the next one in July is, I believe, the 20th. And both of the entertainers, are actually all three of them, participated last year also. So we're
Okay,
really
they're
excited.
all coming back.
Yeah.
It's a fun thing because since we do it out by the Bartholomew House, you can spread out a blanket, bring your own refreshments and food, and it's really a fun night out. I've brought friends and my daughter and my friends and their kids to these before, and it's just a fun summer night out since it wraps up early enough that everybody can get
Go
home.
in time
You know.
and go to bed.
So it's a fun night out for just a quiet family thing to do.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it's quite a summer.
We have a very busy schedule.
And people really just need to pay attention to the Facebook.
The Facebook, we try to keep updates on there as regular as possible.
And our newsletter.
And our newsletter, which we put out about every quarter, we put one of those out. But also just, you can call us at 612-798-6140. And when we're open, we'll answer any questions you have. And you can send us questions through Facebook or email. And I'm usually the one that gets those, and I'll answer them as quick as I can with whatever information I can give.
Or they can go to richfieldhistory.org.
Oh,
And that
Richfield
will,
history.
our newsletter will be on that, and different things coming up. So
We try to keep an events calendar up and updated on there.
Well,
so-
that sounds like a really
lots of
fascinating.
ways for people to connect with us.
Yes, and people, if they're interested in joining, can also just stop by
Yeah,
during
what?
business
A
hours.
membership can be as much as $100 to as little as $1. Anything helps, and that's true of most nonprofits nowadays. But the thing with history is community is very important. And I grew up in Richfield. I was born and raised in Richfield, and I always had that sense of community within knowing your neighbors and knowing the people around you. And history is an intensely important part of that. And that's what we want to play, is that role that
And,
it plays.
even if you weren't born here, it's the idea that you can come in and you can research, you can learn about the community you live in.
Yeah.
And we really encourage people to do that because we feel no matter what nationality, you're here, you're a part of Richfield, and you need to be proud that you live here.
Of the
And
past as well as
Richfield,
the future.
Richfield is a fun community. We're a small town.
Okay, well, the 20 minutes have gone by fast as it always does. So to my viewers, I want to thank you for watching this segment of our summer events program, and to John Wicked and Ruth Ann Clay. Thank you very, very much for being on the show
Thank
today.
Thank you for having us
inviting
on.
Enjoyed it. Welcome back for our second portion of the show, and on this one we're going to talk about the Wood Lake Nature event, and that is the half marathon and the 5K, which I believe is in August, right?
Yep, it's August 6th.
And my guest tonight is Amy Markle. Her day job is to be a naturalist at the Wood Lake Nature Center, but she also has found herself a director of this race. And Amy, how did you ever get into it?
Well, working at Wood Lake Nature Center, we put on fundraisers throughout the year. This one was handed to me when I started there, and just kind of learning as I go. So it was just one of the duties that was given to me, and I've just really enjoyed it. It's been a great opportunity for myself.
And you've said you become a runner as a result?
Yeah, a few years ago, I registered for my first 5K and then a 10K, and then I kind of dared myself to do a half marathon, and then last year I ran my first marathon, and this Saturday, a few more days, but I'm running Grandma's Marathon again, so I'm pretty excited.
Oh, that is fantastic.
Yeah, it kind of gets in you, and it's a little addicting, but a good addiction.
It is a good addiction. It's certainly healthy.
Yeah.
Well, this is, I believe, the 13th year that you've done this, and it all gets started, and I suppose Karen Schrag was involved.
Yeah, yep. So in 2003, the race started, and it started out of a need to build some financial support to continue our partnership with the Richfield Public School District. Each student in the district, kindergarten through 5th and often 6th grade, they come 3 times a year for environmental education and science classes. So we see each student fall, winter, and spring, and they've been coming really since the Nature Center opened. It's directly in our mission to reach the local schools with education there. And then the funding got cut in 2003. We wanted to see this partnership continue, so the race was developed to support that partnership. So all the proceeds go directly to this program. So the students still come 3 times a year.
And that's great.
It is.
And the first year was small, and then it's built ever since, and
Yeah.
you've been very successful. Tell us a little bit exactly about the preparation and all the work that goes into it before the race actually starts.
Yeah, a lot goes into it. You know, as soon as one year is done, we're already thinking about the next year. It's almost a year-long process to really plan an event. In the beginning, you got to look at the course. It's a certified course, so you have to get things certified and sanctioned. So our course has been measured down to the inch. So it's exactly 13.1 miles and certified. So runners know that it is the exact distance, and they can use it as a qualifying time for a weight placement. And most often it's Twin Cities Marathon, which, you know, our race falls in the race calendar as a good time for those training for Twin Cities to run a half. So they're trying to get a good weight placement. But, you know, we look at sponsorship, marketing the race to runners, ordering shirts, supplies. I mean, a lot goes into it. But it's fun. We have a nice committee of people. We get together throughout the year, and we all kind of have our different areas that we're working on to make it happen.
And you've mentioned you do it for the racers, you do it for the money, you do it for the public, private, I think, schools in Richfield. But it's also green, and there's been very innovative things done over the years to make it as green as possible. Talk a little bit about the greenness of it.
Yeah, so, you know, when we started in 2003, it was really just, how do we put on a race? Can we do this? And then as the race kind of took off, we looked at the environmental footprint of the event and thought, you know, this is really to support a nature center, environmental education. How can we, you know, practice what we preach the rest of the year through this event? So really, we've almost used the event, and we almost look at it as another area to educate people about. I've been able to go to different conferences and speak to other race directors and planners about how to put on a green race and how to put on a sustainable event. So we've looked at kind of every angle of the event and thought, how can we do this so there's, you know, less impact on the environment? So, you know, we started really easy, basically with the cups. We have a kind of a medium-sized event for a race. We have about 1,500 to 1,600 runners, and I typically would order about 20,000 cups for all the water stops. And, you know, if you don't have a compostable cup, that's 20,000 cups that go into a landfill. You think about some of the bigger races in town, you know, like a Grandma's Marathon or Twin Cities Marathon, where you have 20,000 people attending these events. That's hundreds of thousands of cups. You know, so how can we do this better with less impact on the environment? So we started with compostable cups. We looked at doing more locally sourced food that's organic, and being able to compost any food scraps and napkins. We've partnered with a solar company, so they bring batteries that have collected solar power, and we run all of our electricity off of solar at the finish line and start. We've looked at shirts, and our race shirts actually made with a 50% recycled plastic product. We made with recycled plastic bottles. We've done different race medals through the years. We've most recently done a recycled glass medal, which it's quite beautiful. This year, I'm really excited. We partner with an artist who takes like a reclaimed barnwood, and she kind of laser engraved these plaques. So we're going to kind of veer away from the metals this year and do a plaque that's made with reclaimed wood. We also have biodegradable race bibs. So we've kind of looked at the main impacts and tried to make it more sustainable.
That's great. What's the route?
Yeah, so we start over at the Richfield Ice Arena, and we run counterclockwise through the city, all on kind of the east side of 35W.
Okay.
And we try to showcase as many of the green spaces in the community. So we definitely run around like Richfield Lake. We run through Wood Lake Nature Center, Christian Park. We run by quite a few of the schools, up through Taft Park, and then back around Veterans Park to the finish line.
Finish line over there.
And a lot of people, have said, I never knew Richfield had so many parks. So I think runners that are not familiar with the community are always surprised at how many green spaces we have. We do run by quite a few businesses too, so they can kind of see what is in Richfield. Yeah, and some of the neighborhoods, and it's pretty neat. A lot of businesses and just residents will put sprinklers out and cheer runners on as they go by. So it's a community event.
I know at the Twin City Marathon there's the cowbells.
Yeah,
do we have cow?
Yeah, I've seen cowbells. I've seen instruments. People just with like radios going to keep runner spirits up.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And you need volunteers. Do you still need volunteers?
Yeah, we need about 200 volunteers to put the event on. We have several water stops, that we need volunteers at, the start, the finish. We need course marshals. So it can be anywhere from, a 30-minute job till you can be there the whole event.
Nice.
Yeah, so if you're interested, you can contact Wood Lake Nature Center and we can find a job for you.
Need to do. And so we know about the half marathon. Talk a little bit about the 5K, and for somebody like me that doesn't really understand these things, what is a 5K?
Yep, so a 5K, it's a shorter race, and it's usually a little bit less competitive. And for us, it's 3.1 miles, and it starts very close to the half marathon start right by the ice arena. And we wind our way out of Veterans Park around Taft Lake and then back into the same finish line as the half marathon. So the finish line and the start's kind of the same. And it has a little less competitive feel to it. We've seen people walk it, jog it, kind of a combo. We've seen young kids, we've seen older adults, kind of people of all ages and abilities. Yeah, and if you're just starting running, it's a great distance to try out and see if it's for you.
Okay, and it starts probably after the main group has started and then finishes before the main group for the most part.
Yeah, so it's a smaller event. We'll have hopefully around 1,300 for the half, and we can take about 300, 350 for the 5K, and that starts at 7:15. And the half marathon's at 7. So, everybody's in pretty much from the 5K as the first half marathon comes in.
And do we track people from other states?
We do. With the technology through the registration system, I can look on the back end kind of at a map of the United States and even the world. We've had people from Europe, South America, Mexico run our race. I think last year we had, I want to say, like 17 different states represented. We find that a lot of people are in the Twin Cities visiting family over the summer, and it's like, let's do a run together. So we do get people from all over the country that help.
That's great. It
Yeah.
puts Richfield on the map a little bit.
It does, yeah.
So that's wonderful. And so anything else about the race? We could talk a little bit about summer at the Nature Center. If we want.
This year, a couple new things we're really excited about. One is a new sponsor for us. Best Buy has gotten involved.
Oh, really?
And so we're really excited to have them on board. They're actually going to be sponsoring 2 water stops.
Oh.
So as runners run the course, the last 2 water stops, they'll have the Geek Squad at one and Best Buy employees at another. So they'll be there to cheer everybody on. And they'll also have, I think, quite a few employees trying to participate with
Oh,
the event.
really?
And we're excited because they're going to offer small electronics recycling as part of the green aspect.
Oh, so people will be able to turn in.
Yep,
small
so we'll
electronics.
take shoes to recycle, shirts and recycle, and now we can do like cell phones and small electronics as well. So another green component to the event.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
great.
so we're real excited about that.
And just a little bit about the Nature Center. We've got our summer camps going
Yeah.
strong, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's busy. We have camps as young as 3. We have parent-child camp I'm doing tomorrow. We have family camp, which is new this year, so families can come together and learn together, all ages. And then we have, traditional camps like ages 4 through kind of 6th grade, like a 12-year-old age. So anything from wild edible chefs to bike hike. We're doing like a camp called Tadpoles and Toads where we're talking about metamorphosis. So it's really an experience for kids just to get outside and have fun.
Away from the TV and away from the video games.
Electronics, yeah. So it's a nice break for a lot of kids to get outside, just experience nature and in a less maybe formal setting as the school year. It's just just to get kids having fun and being kids. We do fort camps. We do a lot of games. So it's a break from the electronics and just get them out in the woods.
Yeah, which is a better place, healthier place.
Yes.
And I think there were scholarships available this year too, and there was I don't know if it was a fundraiser or something happened.
Yeah, so through the Emily Day Foundation.
That was it.
Yeah, we were able to collect some funding through Emily Day's Foundation for any student in Richfield to come to summer camp and be fully funded. And we still have scholarships left. So people go onto our website and see the different camps that we have available. If your child would like to register and you need financial support, we have the means to help you.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And the animals are all reproducing and happy, or
They
happily
are.
reproducing?
Yeah, it's full on summer at Wood Lake, so we're seeing a lot of baby birds. The last few weeks we've been seeing a lot of turtles laying eggs.
Oh, good.
The ducklings and goslings are, like a month old right now, so they're kind of in that awkward stage. They're not quite a duckling, but they're not an adult. They're kind of in between. And fawns were born a few weeks ago, and coyote pups. So lots of young babies at Wood Lake.
It's always exciting time of the year for watch for animals.
It's nice.
And now Wood Lake obviously can't have tons of deer. You try to keep it to a smaller minimum so they don't totally destroy the plant fauna as they did maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, our carrying capacity at 150 acres is about 3 deer. And anything more, it's just too much for that ecosystem. And a lot of the 150 acres is wetland, so it doesn't provide a lot of food for the deer. And you don't want to create a situation where, they can't find food, where they're always jumping the fence and potentially getting hit by cars and things like that, or in our neighbors' yards eating shrubs and things like that. So, lately, last several years, they've really just kind of maintained their own populations. We haven't had to do any sort of management. We tend to see more deer in the park around the rut in November. So we do some different counts throughout the year and assess how many we have. It can be high in November, up to 8, 9 deer. And then kind of in the doldrums of winter, we'll do another count. And a lot of times, it's just a few. Yeah, a lot of them, I think, realize there's not a lot of high quality food there and kind of disperse. Yeah.
And I suppose, I know a lot of people don't like to think about that, but having a predator, it's not bad.
No, it's not bad. It's natural part of nature to have a predator to help control things. So it can be healthy, part of the ecosystem.
It's part of the whole pyramid of life.
Yeah.
And let's see, are there any plans for more paths, or are any of that going on? It seems I heard something, but maybe it's over and done with.
Yeah, a couple little trail projects. We're hoping to kind of spruce up just behind the building. We're going to be putting in a small trail to go by a new fountain that we have, and it's more of kind of like a backyard bird area for people to just relax and sit on a bench and watch birds. So we're going to create a small trail behind the building. And we're hoping later this summer, a small segment of our perimeter loop to raise the trails up a little bit. Because when we take on a lot of water as a stormwater, kind of like a stormwater pond, the trails often will get flooded, especially one section of our perimeter trail. So that's kind of in the near future, is hopefully to raise the trails.
We'll raise it up so
Yeah.
people can still do it even if the wetlands are
Yeah.
basically flooded after
Yep.
a good rain event.
Yeah.
So, and I know, to me, I am always interested because we haven't had the cooler, snowier winters that I recall, and cross-country skiing is always an issue. Did we have a season this year?
Very, very short. I think there was one really decent weekend where we were pretty busy renting skis and a few marginal. But we need a good base of 8 to 10 inches to groom. So it was kind of a rough few years, and we're hopeful that this winter we'll get some big snowfalls and people can
Well,
get out here.
everybody in Richfield knows and loves the Wood Lake Nature
Yeah.
Center. In my mind, it's truly our wonderful, wonderful treasure.
It really is.
And you naturalists out there just do a fantastic job, and I know it was really great. So thanks, Amy.
Oh, thank you.
My
Thanks for
guest,
having me.
Amy Markle from the Wood Lake Nature Center. Really appreciate you being here. Welcome back to our events of summer in Richfield. And this segment of the program will be about gardens and flowers. And I'm so happy to have with me Susan Rosenberg and Mary Olafson from the Richfield Garden Club. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
And as if people don't know, this group does many things. They actually work with the Historical Center and the Plant Show. And talk a little bit about how that went this year, just very quickly.
Well, this year we always have our annual plant sale the weekend after Mother's Day, and we have it on the grounds of the Bartholomew House, and it's the plant sale. And this year, because the weather didn't cooperate, we had to go to the farmers market the following Saturday and finish out our sale, and it worked out great.
It worked okay, and you made some
It
money.
did.
and-
It did. It was so cold that Saturday.
Oh,
my
that's
gosh.
right. That was the
I
freezing
had the down
weekend.
jacket on and everything,
were
and yeah,
cold.
yeah. We lost cucumbers actually. It was so cold. We had cucumber plants. And
How did the plants do in that kind of?
They didn't. They certainly didn't grow.
Yeah, I
It
can
wasn't
imagine that.
freezing, so it didn't kill except the cucumber plants because they're pretty delicate. But we kept them all. We had to kind of keep them for that week between the two sales. Keep them in the garage.
well,
and
each
keep 'em
member
covered.
did that. They
Yeah, we
kind
each took a
hold a group of
carload of
annuals and
plants.
took them home and nursed them and then brought them to the farmers market.
Well, I know it's. I mean, I covered
Yeah.
my new plants, and
Oh, I
it
know.
was something that we don't experience very often.
Well, they don't do anything. It's
just
so
sit
cold.
there.
They just sit there. I didn't lose any. I lost a few leaves on some wax begonias that I had, but I didn't lose anything. But of course, they're huddled up like everything else. They're not moving. I'm not growing in this.
Not
Yeah.
eating, not
I'm not
eating.
doing anything. They're just sitting there.
Okay, well, the big thing coming up is Richfield Beautiful, which has been going on for how many years?
Since 2003.
And
We did miss a couple years in there, but we have essentially Mary and I have been doing this since 2003.
And you don't have your hats on. For
I-
my viewers
I
who
knew
may
you'd
not
bring
have
that up.
seen the program way back in the
Right.
2004, 5, that era,
Right.
these two ladies would show up with big floppy hats with big flowers on them. It was really quite creative.
We were just calling back the old days
Those are
when
the old
when
days.
the ladies would sit with white gloves and big hats on in the gardens.
Just in the gardens. And so this year you're doing things a little bit. I mean, way back in the beginning, it was really a house and garden tour. And then for how many years now? The last 5, 6,
About
7?
5 or 6 years we've just been doing gardens.
Gardens. And this year you're taking nominations for people to explain it all, Sue and Mary. Both of
Well,
you
I'll
chime in.
start. We have there. Richfield has had Richfield in Bloom for the past several years, and that is the Landscape Awards, and they kind of have a hard time getting people to judge their gardens. We sometimes have a hard time of finding gardens, so I thought, well, let's just combine them. So we are asking for nominations. It'll be after this show airs that the deadline, and then
What's the date then?
the July. It's June
July
15th for
15th.
the. It'll be after the show airs. Before with the deadline will be over with, and so what happens then? We're going to take a look at the nominations that come in, and I understand they're coming in from the city staff. And so then we're going to take a look at them, and then we're going to go out and decide on 10 finalists. And out of those 10 finalists, 8 or 10 finalists, we're hoping that we have a show, the Richfield Garden Tour. Beautiful garden tour that's going to happen on July 30th from 1 to 5. And then during that tour, the finalists will be on display, but the participants of the tour will get to vote on the People's Choice Awards. This is a People's Choice. This is not an official garden club type of judging. This is a People's Choice. Now, the winner of the People's Choice will be recognized at the first August meeting of the City Council. But all 10 of the finalists will be recognized, and there will be prizes
For all of them.
for everyone. Because, like I said, it's a people's choice, and it's going to be a kind of popularity. They'll have an opportunity to vote at each one of the gardens, or they'll have an opportunity to vote at the last garden that they attend, so that they can. Yeah, and we're seeing how it works, because we're trying to cover all our bases with this.
I think it's a great idea. I'm sorry, I'm just going to say, because I think everybody then has a chance to vote. You know, before it was the garden club kind of, going out there and looking at the gardens and narrowing them down to the finalists and such. But now here's a part, for the community to be involved. I think it's great.
And there might be a little bit difference in terms of what people just like.
Yeah.
Versus what you guys as members and what you see, the way you look at these
Right.
gardens. There might be a bit of a difference. Then again, maybe not, but there
Right.
might be.
Yeah,
So we're
yeah.
really kind of, when we see some of the nominations that are coming in, and it's just, I think it's going to be a great afternoon, just like they always are. Yeah. It'll be on July 30th from 1 to 5, and it'll be a self-guided tour. Maps will go on sale. We're shooting for around the 15th of July to get the maps in all the community buildings and liquor stores, and they're still going to be $5 because we do have to pay our graphics artists. We have to buy signs. So that's pretty much the money just kind of rolls right through there.
And Mary, is the garden club thinking about nominating, some gardens that they've seen as they've gone through, or can they?
Well, they definitely can. I mean, they're all within the community. Everybody should hopefully keep an eye out with their neighbors. I mean, their favorite landscape and garden and everything. So, I think it's going to be a great opportunity. It's a little bit earlier than before. In the past years, I think we did the judging late July or something like that. But it's a little bit early, but I think it's still a great
Well, it
opportunity.
seems to me that in July, the first part of July, is when really the gardens really start blooming. Although most people have things that bloom in August and September too.
Well, the annuals are all out, of course,
And the
now.
annuals are
so,
all And the grasses. I mean, that's the new thing that I find stunning is people, not only wildflowers, but the native grasses are becoming a part. if one of you want to talk a
Exactly.
little
Mary has
bit
a
about
lot.
it?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my favorite is the Carl Foster reed grass. It's it doesn't spread. It's just a really tall. It's like 5 feet tall, and it's got that amber kind of blooms of it. It's beautiful in a landscape.
Say that name again.
It's Carl Foster reed grass.
Reedgrass.
Yeah,
okay.
it's great. But then there's don't get me going on all of it. But I mean, there's little blue stem.
little
That's
blue
lovely.
Evan.
I mean, actually at the municipal center, they have some great grass, especially in the courtyard area that they're using.
Oh.
And they're just easy and beautiful in color in late summer. They're lovely. They really are.
And people are getting more into the native plants too.
Oh.
Well,
yeah.
it helps the pollinators.
Yeah.
And that's what we're
Yeah.
really hoping to increase.
More
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Well, we one of the things the garden club does that we do as a community event is we keep the community center garden going.
Oh.
And we just planted that, just redid it just a couple of weeks ago. Lots of beautiful hostas in there. Mary is the designer for the garden.
We're all in there.
Well, you're there. You're the moving
It
force.
was
there.
organized chaos, and it worked perfectly.
Keystone Cops is kind of what I keep thinking. But we're digging and we're planting, and it's really pretty. Really pretty.
Well, and I'm learning the hard way that just because they're native plants doesn't mean they control themselves.
Oh yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've
They'll
got
spread.
goldenrod that I probably should have put somewhere, more towards
Yeah.
the back. That I
Yeah.
think they own the whole place, and
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
tearing it out.
Yeah.
I tore some out.
Yeah, and milkweed too. I mean, that's a great plant. It's lovely for the butterflies. The monarchs love it, but it spreads too.
Well, and
yeah.
I didn't think rabbits would eat it, but I planted
Yeah.
2. One of them is pretty much just a stick.
That's the problem in this community.
Weed.
We're rabbits.
I don't know where those eagles are, but I can guarantee that they should come because there's food.
Oh yeah, we need more of them. We have to maybe pollinate them, so to
Yes.
speak.
'Cause we want our garden to look beautiful for the tour. So bunnies, go. Yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
and I don't know. I just for people to know that that the
Yeah.
rabbits really eat anything, and
Oh, they do.
They also attacked my lupine.
No.
Yes,
Why would they are very hungry.
I mean I
That
thought
lupine
that
is
the
not
cabbage would satisfy them. No,
Yeah.
they had to do my milkweed plant and my
Oh,
lupine.
jeez.
So viewers, definitely.
Well,
Watch those rabbits, and just
absolutely.
because you have native plants doesn't mean that they're
Right,
not going to
right.
attack them.
But this year I'm winning. I fenced in. I just cut
Oh,
some
you
fencing
did.
and I have it over my plants, and so far so good.
Can't see the plants
You know.
for the fence, but other than that, they're
You
The
can,
rabbits.
The rabbits
if they
can't
get
find
tall
them.
enough, and then the rabbits will eat probably the top of it. But no, it's so far so good.
yeah.
Well, every animal, I guess, has their
But this is
right
really
to
going to be
survive.
this is going to be a great summer
Yeah.
for the tour, and to have this added component to it, I think, is going to just add some interest. And
Oh,
we're
I
really
think
hoping
so.
that we get some media coverage, because when Mary and I talked to the city staff, we said we'd do the work. We'd decide on how the voting is going to happen. We'd put the signs up. We'd get the maps all done. But I needed them for media
Yes.
coverage, and I needed them to help with the signage at the liquor stores and things like that. And we're working with a great staff. Kate Atchison and Julie Urban from the city staff has just been great to work with.
Yeah.
And we're having a good time, and when you're around a bunch of flowers, you can't help but have a good time.
Good time.
So, and be excited by the colors. And the people who are gardeners are really fun to be around, because everybody's got their own stories, be they rabbits or grasses, or if they just have some
Or Creepy
stories.
Charlie.
Or Creeping Charlie, or everybody has
totally.
a story. And we learn a lot from our tour.
Yeah, because all these people, have learned the hard way for the most part. I mean, that's the only way to learn when you're gardening,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
trial and error.
And that's what I say that's what Mary and I, we talk a lot about we love to see the big, beautiful gardens, but we really like the small doable. We call them doable gardens because we really want people to walk away saying, "I can do that."
I can do it.
And sometimes when you're looking at the Better Homes and Gardens type of garden, they're
Yeah.
gorgeous and they're park-like, but you're thinking, "I can't do this." But the little small Richfield gardens that we really love to have on the tour are the ones that people say, I think I learned something, I can do this, and they go home and make their own environment
A
better.
little better.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's about. Excuse me. And then you guys also have the Tri-City Flower Show.
Oh,
Tell me
yeah.
The
about that.
Richfield Garden Club has that. We have this competition. We've had it every year, and I'm trying to think. I don't know how long it's been. It's probably been 90 years or 80 years. I don't know. It's between Richfield and Bloomington and Edina.
Those three cities.
Yeah, and it's at the Southtown Center. It's in the Old Town area or the center area, and we've had that for so many years. It's design, floral design. It's horticulture from plants from or flowers from their gardens, and some maybe a table arrangement or mobiles, all natural and all within kind of a natural design concept, and it's judged by state judges.
Oh, wow.
Trained judges,
trained
yeah.
and everything like that. So we compete, and we have little tallies of each city. And Richfield, I think we lost to was it Edina or Bloomington by 1 point last year.
Wasn't a pretty sight.
So,
And that's
but-
going to be July 16th. And
17th,
yep.
yep, that weekend. So please come out and look at the lovely designs and the beautiful flowers, and participate too. We're open. I mean, we'll set up on Friday evening, and then Saturday morning, I think till 9 o'clock or 8:30, you could bring in your hosta leaf or something that you would like to have involved in the competition. That would be great.
I think I was wrong on that. It's July 23rd. It's a
No,
week
no,
before.
it's earlier.
Oh,
It
is
is.
it? Okay,
It
well,
is the 16th or 17th.
we should have
That
looked
weekend.
that up before
yeah,
we came
yeah,
here.
we kind of they
Okay.
kind of keep it at that.
That time of the
We're
year.
a little date. I'm not sure of the date, but
Well, and I can attest, especially the designs, they're really a work of art.
they are.
You go to art institutes and art shows and things like that, but I just love it because rocks are beautiful too, and I've gone to shows where people are showing rocks, but flowers are alive. And what people do with them, it's so
Yes.
creative. Maybe because I'm not very creative, I just
Well,
admire.
Mary, she wins top prizes every year. I have a hard time,
Yeah,
but they don't like mine. But
I think they're great. I don't know what they're looking for, Susan. I don't know, but and then wasn't it a year ago or whatever? Your sister Pat.
My
we had
sister-
photography, Richfield. Garden type
Yeah.
photography and
Photography.
such. She participated. I think she got
my sister
a
got
second
a couple
ribbon.
awards. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yep. Beat you out. And,
she,
no, I'm
she
kidding.
did a lot better than
no,
I did.
no,
so.
you did very well.
but it
don't
is
know what the
it's
secret
just
is.
a wonderful
It's a
day
great
to just
pastime.
go in there. It's always air conditioned, so if it's a hot
Right,
day,
yeah.
get out of the heat and just go and stroll
Mm-hmm.
and look at those beautiful plants. And I remember dahlias that were
Oh, I
just
know,
big
I
and
know.
beautiful. It really is almost as good as the state fair. I mean, a lot of people go to the state fair
Oh, we
to see.
participate in the state fair too, flower show as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but anyway, it really is beautiful. I didn't realize that there actually was a competition between
Yeah,
the three
It
cities.
is. It's
Oh,
intense.
yeah, it gets pretty.
Well, gardening, no matter what style, what size, it's worth it to be able to do that. And it's such a nice hobby to have. And in the summer, we have such a short time to do this that you can get into a whole different mindset with gardening.
Excuse me. I think people find if they've tried gardening and it's really a stress reducer.
Oh, yeah.
I've always felt that, and you know, it's
Even pulling
cheap
weeds.
and cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, pulling weeds are a
mean,
great
just-
stress reducer.
You could lose hours, but I mean, yeah, there's just something about just getting out there and.
And I talk to my plants.
Yeah, well, we
I
all
know
do.
how beautiful they are.
You talk to a lot of things.
Yes, we won't get into that. Well, we only have 30 seconds.
No, this has
Oh
been
my
fun.
gosh, time flies.
Yeah, so I want to say thank you to the two of you for being on the show. Again, my guests for this portion of the program is Susan Rosenberg and Mary Olafson. Thank you.